Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back in War Thunder and I'm going to give my ground recommendations for the sales that are going on right now. The anniversary sales aren't as big as some of the other sales that we've had this year, but that usually means that a lot of the vehicles that aren't on sale right now will be on sale at Christmas. So if there are stuff that's in the sales or not in the sales that you're looking forward to, don't worry, it'll probably be here in about a month or so. So let's get into the picks for at least for me. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. The first vehicle to have a look at is the CV90 105 XC8. This one is fantastic. You know, it's got pretty much whatever you want. Whenever I have like a light tank and that light tank has the firepower of a medium tank, but also has the mobility of a light tank, that's a winning formula. And that's what this CV90 has. It has this really good transmission, which means it can fly forward and backwards. It has this really good 105, which has access to a 5-second reload because of the autoloader, and also gets DM53 at this BR, meaning that you can be really useful. You also have really good thermals and the LWS, which means that you know when you're getting targeted. It just means that it's just a really nice platform where you can generally just play really well through. You also have the smoke grenades, so you can reposition very easily. It doesn't really have a downside, this vehicle, which I think is why it's very enjoyable. I suppose the only downside is kind of the BR that it's at, because it's very light tank heavy, the BR, and if you go up by one bracket, you have obviously the Leopard 2s, and you could run it with the Leopard 2s, but generally it's better not to do that. But out of the kind of light tanks that are at 10.3 and also the AAs and stuff, it basically just means that you're in a really nice position. So I would highly recommend this vehicle if you like the whole like highly mobile, strong firepower vehicles. This one just works very well for that. In the GE vehicle video, we talked about the French Clovis since it was on offer. Well, guess what? In the pack one, the German Clovis is on offer because that's really the only difference between the German and the French Clovis. One is a pack and one is a GE vehicle. The Clovis is fantastic. It's just a better DF105. It basically has the coaxial 20 and also the laser rangefinder, whereas the DF105 does not have either of these things, and they're at the same BR. And basically, the only issue with the Clovis is the Term 3 exists, and the Term 3 is insanely powerful for the Germans, but if you're a person who doesn't want to play 8.3 because of the T58 right now, or you don't want to play the TAM2IP, which is also about, the Clovis is a fantastic option too. The 8.0 lineup for Germany is also really fun. You have the BMP-1, which can be enjoyable. You have the Marder and the DF-105 as very good light tanks. Then you have the Raketen Automat, which is just, once again, just a fun vehicle. And then also the Raketen Jagdpanzer II as well, just as something that's slightly different. So the Clovis is the best vehicle out of all of those vehicles. It has scouting, it has a great gun for the BR, it has a great reload once again because of the autoloader, and at the same time you have the coaxial just to have a bit of fun with too. And it's on the Marder chassis, so it has the really good mobility forward and backwards. And even if you're in matchups where, you know, it's a little bit harder to play, guess what? You can scout targets and help your team in that way. So generally, it's just a really good vehicle across the place. For Japan, we have the Fuji, the Type 90B. This is just a standard Type 90 with a bit of camouflage on it, and they recently decompressed this area in BRs. So they put up the Fuji to 11.7, and then they decompressed all the highest echelons to 12.7. So it's basically in the same position it was before, compared to what it was when it was at 11.3. If anything, it's in a slightly better position, because now when it gets into 12.7 matchmaking, you now get the quantitative matchmaker, which means that either side can only have a quarter of it being the top BR. So before it was 11.3 to 12.0, now it's 11.7 to 12.7, so it actually helps it out quite a lot. Now, the Type 90 is really good because it has access to a really good reload, it has really good targeting speed, and also it gets the standard GM33 with the LWS and Gen 1 thermals. The round is not as powerful as a lot of other vehicles that have them around this BR, but what you do have with this vehicle is you have just a really nice profile in terms of mobility with the 1500 horsepower engine and also very good targeting speed too. One of the things that they haven't done yet with this vehicle as well is they haven't modeled the turret ring like they have with other kind of standard MBTs. So this means that a lot of rounds can just go straight through you and do nothing. This is the same on the Type 10 and also the TKX. This fuel tank in the front will just eat rounds, and also you can shoot in here and nothing will happen. So it has a lot more survivability, even though it has less crew than most of the other vehicles at these BRs. And that is one of the keys to the Fuji and why it's so powerful. Same with the Type 10s and the TKXs. So yeah, the vehicle's really good. Highly recommend it. If you're not as interested as playing like high tier, you can also have a look at the Type 74 Red Star. This is just a standard Type 74. It has some like superficial armor on it in this structural steel, but it's more like decoration armor. I think this vehicle looks really cool and aesthetically is very pleasing. And at the same time, being at 8.3, it basically just means it doesn't have the APF SDS, but it has everything else that you'd want out of a Type 74. Now, the only issue with this vehicle is 9093 is very strong. You can get up beyond into that, and it can be pretty crazy. But also, right now, when it comes to America and Germany, which are usually the two meta nations around these BRs, they have very strong 83s and 80s too. So the Type 74 actually fits really well into that bracket because it has the stabilizer, it has the laser rangefinder, it has the rounds that can deal with stuff, and also just generally has the okay mobility to be able to deal with them. I just think I've never had a bad time in any of the Type 74s. You know, I've spaded out the C, which is the equivalent to the Type 74 Red Star, also the E and the F, the Type 74G as well. They've all been pretty standard good vehicles, and the Red Star would be exactly the same. You do have a few issues in terms of it. You know, the general vertical the vertical speed is a bit slow on the gun, but that's like a lot of the vehicles of this BR. And also, the gun depression isn't as good as other vehicles, so you have to learn how hydropneumatic suspension works. But if you know how to use hydropneumatic suspension, then it's not too much of an issue, and you'll be fine. The last vehicle that I'm going to suggest is the clickbait. A lot of people always say the clickbait is bad. It's not bad. It's a very good vehicle. It just has a few issues with the fact that it's been updated and other vehicles aren't. The clickbait is just an M1A1. This means that it gets access to a very, very powerful round, it gets a very good reload of 5 seconds, and also a good laser rangefinder, plus other good stuff such as great mobility. The issues with the clickbait is they've actually fully modeled the horizontal, and it can be incredibly annoying because whenever you get shot, this horizontal gets taken out. You also have other fully modeled systems, which basically means that they get taken out, and it just hurts. So if you're one of those people who plays a little bit more defensively, a little bit more counter-attacky, the clickbait can work very well because you can actually take out vehicles when they're on the attack and then hit back. You just have to make sure, and I know this sounds really stupid, but a lot of other vehicles, like we talked about the Type 90 earlier, those things can tank shots. The clickbait can't. So you just have to make sure you're always the person who shoots first. And with the great targeting speed, the great mobility, and then also at the same time, the great reload, you can do that very well in all of the Abramses, including the clickbait. Now, you are in the top BR matchmaker, but generally I think that's generally fine. And then also with the changes in the next update, where you'll get daily universal backups, that will also help if you're only using this as a one-man band. I don't suggest it, but I know a lot of people do, and that can be something at least that will be improved in the next one. So yeah, those are my suggestions. Look after yourselves. Peace be with you. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.